But I
Everyone, welcome back, Birds Deep. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus, holidays, sickness, all kinds of stuff. But we're back just in time for the playoffs and the aftermath of the Eagles Cowboys. Definitely not what we expected. I got my man over here, Mean Gene. Tell him who you are, Gene.
What's poppin'? Mean! Woo! Gene. What you mean not what
What's
we're
up,
expecting?
man?
What do you mean not what we're I expected that. You expected to win that football game? I did not.
Well, just the circumstances surrounding it, injuries, things of that nature. Yeah, I know you said you didn't expect to win it. I thought they could win, but what happened at the end was my ultimate fear: Lane Johnson getting hurt. Which, if you're an Eagles fan, Lane Johnson not being there it's like an Achilles heel. So we'll talk about how that's going to affect us grades. We'll talk about that. Is Hurts playing injury updates? He was on the practice field today. Should they play him? Should they not? Topic of conversation. Lane Johnson injury, among other things. But I think we'll jump into grades first. I mean, Gene, I know you didn't expect them to win. That was your prediction. I did. I thought that game was winnable when they were playing 100%.
They play way better than I expected.
Yeah, a lot better than I expected them to play, but at the end,
the offense, defense is different story. Jonathan Gannon, we start there.
Let's do it.
Look, at the end of the day, I know we turned the ball over 4 times in that you let up a 40-piece. You let up a 40-piece in a game, that's never going to get you above a C for me. The reason I
I
give
agree.
him a D is because you had an opportunity to really take that game and grab it by the stranglehold. You had a 7-point lead. You had a 3rd and 30. On
Correct.
that 3rd and 30, you allowed T.Y. Hilton, who was just signed on Tuesday, convert a 3rd
Literally
and
dust and
30 for
cleats.
a 52-yard completion. So Jonathan Gannon, uh, Reed Blankenship, Marcus Epps, whoever, Darius Slay, y'all wrong for that one. That 3rd and 30 can't happen.
Oh, never.
I
I
give
mean, a 3rd
Jonathan
and 30,
Gannon a
man.
D.
Yeah, 3rd and 30, your punt team's ready. Your punt return team is on the sideline ready for you to complete that 3rd down, get to the 4th down, and, get that ball back. And I you know, I'm used to T.Y. Hilton's number being, 13. I'm like, "Who the hell is that? Who's that?" Right? Because he has it and I
Mhm.
know who he was, but, I mean, come on, man, like, I'm watching that and I'm like, "This is killing me." And it's those little things that made the difference,
Little
besides turning the ball over. I mean, there's multiple times. I mean, even the pass to CeeDee Lamb, where, he went in for the touchdown, uh, there was a missed assignment on that one as well, right? I mean, it was just I felt like they coulda got after him a little bit more. I know Maddox getting hurt, going out definitely is a minus. We're already missing Gardner Johnson. Hopefully, he's back soon. Didn't start his practice schedule this week, so but, there's a lot of plays. Mike bringing up the play right here. So this is the, 3rd and 30. I mean, I'm just
Marcus
upset
Epps,
watching that.
man. Marcus Epps. Forgot who the
What
safety
what
was.
play?
I didn't want to concern myself with it. Oh, Josiah Scott. Josiah Scott. That is terrible.
Mm,
So if you
awful.
don't know what you're watching or why, and if you're like Darius Slay hater and you're just trying to troll Darius Slay, which makes no damn sense and annoys the hell out of me, you
0.
just let him run by him. You just let him run by. Yeah, he has underneath coverage. There's a safety there for a reason. So if that ball gets thrown up,
Correct.
safety's job is just to time it and smack it down. That's all their job is to do. So Darius Slay is the underneath route, so they can't throw a comeback or an out. Like they probably could have tried a deep out, 20, 25-yard out, and then went for it on 4th down. But by the time you seen when that ball was thrown, T.Y. Hilton was about 15, 16 yards away from where the ball landed, obviously. So Slay is protecting the underneath to make sure it's not a comeback route thrown and not an out thrown to give them like a 4th and manageable so they can go for it. Josiah Scott had the over top, and I mean, let's be honest, you did a really poor job there. Your job is to smack the
Yeah.
ball down. It's not to get an interception. It's not to do anything but put your hand on the football. Knock it away.
Yep.
That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. That is the difference
100%.
between winning and losing.
Yeah, 100%. I would go with that being the number 1 play. I'm giving Jonathan Gannon, you know, I'll give him a C minus because, they came out pretty aggressive, but I'm really disappointed in the performance. You got a free 7 points off that Josh Sweat, screen pass interception. I mean, you're like, "Wow, this is the way we're gonna start off 10 nothing. This is amazing." You're thinking you're in a driver's seat, and we let them back in the game several times. Offense was part of that too, but CeeDee Lamb was killing us. I think specifically even more so once Avonte Maddox was out. I think CeeDee Lamb was gonna eat no matter what, but he started really
No,
eating
he
after that.
embarrassed us in the slot. That's exactly what
Yeah.
happened. They moved him specifically to the slot, and he embarrassed us in the slot.
Now there was an underneath coverage, and I'm not sure if that was Slay or not, but I remember there being a blown one, and, CeeDee Lamb took it to the house, and it looked like the assignment
Talking
was
about
missed on it.
the one that he just shook Bradbury, or are you talking about the deep one?
The deep one.
Okay.
The deep one.
Lamb had
I
2
mean
touchdowns that game. Yeah. Um, the one he shook Bradbury was just a really good receiver play. Shook him perfectly.
correct.
I watched everything. It lined out perfectly. The blown coverage on it looked like a deep 7 route or a flag route, and
Yeah,
the
that's the one.
safety broke on the middle of the field where the tight end was coming over the linebacker, and the cornerback took the under, which was the wide receiver coming. I mean, the running back coming out to the flat. So it left CD Lamb their best weapon by himself. Um, look, soft zone doesn't work versus decent quarterbacks. It's never worked versus good
No,
quarterbacks. I want to again, and I hate doing this. I hate doing this. But I want you to tell me what game has Jonathan Gannon slowed down a top tier quarterback? Just slowed him down. One.
no, I
Let's
I
let's
can't think
for
of
the,
one.
for the hell of it. Okay. Just want to go through it again this year. And I was prepared for this. And this is why I want to start with JG. We'll go through it the entire year. I don't want to be this guy. I don't. I'm an Eagles fan. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. So you can have your. So we would say no that he did not slow down Jared Goff as the Lions put up 35. Yeah.
I would say no.
Just give me a nod. Give me an okay. Yes.
No, he did not
Um,
slow that. No.
slow down Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, um, Trevor Lawrence at the beginning of the year, 21 points. Okay. Um, Kyler Murray, Cooper Rush, Kenny Pickett, Davis Mills. Taylor Heineke put 32 up on us. Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers put 33 up on us. Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones, 22. Justin Fields, 20. Dak Prescott, 40. What? It's fool's gold, dude. It is fool's gold. If you are, this guy's really good at creating tons of stats versus bad quarterbacks or okay quarterbacks at best, like Kirk Cousins. Like they play great on that Monday night. I can't take anything away from them, but they're not good against accurate quarterbacks. It's very obvious that they get shredded in that zone.
Yeah, well, their defense is you wanna call it a funnel offense. They love funneling it to the middle, and I feel like they almost surrender it with that soft zone. They're surrendering the middle, and they're giving that up, and that's part of their strategy. I don't like that strategy. I've seen teams do it. There's a lot of funnel defenses out there, but that's I'm not a fan of it because it could be exploited, especially if other parts of your defense are falling short. So and I've seen it happen several times. Titans have a funnel defense. So do the Chargers. But you just gotta be aggressive in a game like that. And I don't. The defense. There was a lot of mistakes. Right. It was an awful game, but he just doesn't. He doesn't change the flow of the game by changing up a strategy, making adjustments at halftime. I don't think he makes any adjustments. He goes in with his plan and the adjustments are minimal at best. I don't see any in-game adjustments where it's like, okay, we're gonna start doing this now because they're going this way. And I just feel like it's a bend don't break defense, as it's an overused term, but it really is. And I don't think his defense is designed to play with play within a close game or from behind. Like it's one of those defenses that are designed to play from behind where they have to pass and you're keeping everything in front of you. If the rush isn't getting home, and sometimes it isn't. I know Jordan Davis went down, but the D line, I don't think the D line played awful. I mean, I would have liked more from him, but I mean, early on, I think they were getting to him. I think putting the D out there on a short field a lot with as many turnovers as there was, it was definitely hurting them. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I was
27,
disappointed in Jonathan Gannon.
27, 35 for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
What part of the defense did well?
Well, Joshua had the touchdown. I mean, they did get some sacks. They did get some pressure on the quarterback.
Why
I
they
mean,
didn't
not
get an F? Why they didn't get an F?
right, but
That's why.
they re- he leaves a lot to be desired. I agree, man. If you're a quarterback that's can be accurate and can read his zone, you can put up stats on the Eagles, and you get some turnovers and you can win. I mean, and they put them in position to score a lot. So yeah, I'm with
What's
you
your
on the
grade for
defense. I was
Jonathan
disappointed.
Gannon?
I'm giving him a D plus. I don't.
You start with
He's
C
getting a D
minus.
plus.
Didn't you?
Fuck it. I want a D plus. I'm even more disgusted the more we break it down.
Gardner Minshew.
So yeah. I mean, listen, Gardner played a good game. He's not Jalen. I know they dialed back the RPOs because he's not Jalen. Um, when they did do an RPO, you got the Devontae Smith touchdown, and Dallas was like, "What happened?" So I feel like I would give Gardner Minshew. I give him a B minus. I think he missed some
Funny,
throws.
funny you
Yeah, I
say
think
that.
he missed some throws.
I gave him a B
You did?
minus
Yeah.
also. I think the biggest problem I had with him was his situational awareness. I think this play right
Mm,
here, that's a
mhm.
great catch. But there's an interception that he throws, that two of them, and they're both slants to the weakest receiver on the field, Wes Watkins. He's literally the weakest receiver on the field. And
I'm so
uh
glad you brought him up.
and I don't think
Uh,
it's Quez's fault. Like when you have a situation where you're throwing the ball to Quez Watkins on a slant, a quick slant, that's not right there. He completed that one. My fault. But it looks like his highlights right here. But I think that his biggest issue that he had, there's a touchdown pass.
no, that was the
Easy.
RPO, yeah. I
But
think they shoulda did that more. I mean, with the RPOs, I agree with you. They shouldn't put Quez in that situation. My thing is was it the play calling or was it the situational awareness by Minshew? Like, I I don't like how Quez gets the ball wrestled away from him. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. He's not an over the middle guy. He's a field stretcher. You're gonna go over the middle. You want to go third wide receiver. I'd rather go Pascal. I mean, I'm just saying he's done it in the league before. Quez is not. He's never been that type of guy. And I don't know if that's the quarterback or the play calling or both on that
I think
situation.
it's both. You can't call a slant to Quez Watkins in those scenarios. He's not going to win a fight for the ball. Godfrey,
Oh
you
my
could
god.
probably bench more than that kid.
Yeah, he's not that type of receiver. Like, what were they thinking there? Like,
Correct.
that is horrible situational awareness.
Happened
I agree.
twice. Happened twice. Both times. Just
Yeah.
took it from him. Deboed him.
Uh, yeah, hey, totally deboed him, and I was so disgusted with that. And the other thing is the situational awareness. The last play of the game, it looked like Devontae Smith was open for, the first down, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he couldn't see it quick enough because the rush came in right away and he
Yeah.
went to the back of the end zone, but Devontae Smith definitely was open for that first down. And I don't think he
You're
saw
right.
it. Maybe his reads didn't go, but that's a
I don't think he had
situational
time
awareness
to
where
read.
you have
I
to
think
make that.
the play was designed for AJ Brown, and I think the Cowboys knew that. There's 3 Cowboys around him, which is why Devontae Smith was open.
Yeah. It was pretty
That's on best.
pretty
That's what they went.
disconcerting.
But the
Yeah.
Eagles definitely, and listen, I think the biggest problem I have with this game is all the Eagles fans on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Oh yeah, you beat a backup quarterback. We turned the ball over 4 times and allowed 40 total points. Like I don't want to hear we beat a backup quarterback. We played bad. Like what was Hurts going to put up 48? How
Yeah,
many less times will we turn the ball over?
that's valid. And the other thing too is, uh, Gardner did a decent job for the snaps he's gotten. I think, the Scott fumble, the Sanders fumble twice, if I'm not mistaken, or was it once? It doesn't
But
matter, the
all
one.
right, the Scott fumble was definitely a read option. Uh,
Right.
pulled the ball
Their
in.
timing was off.
Yeah, I get it. The Sanders fumble was him getting hit in the backfield too fast, and Micah
Right.
being able to end up touching him before he got an opportunity to hold the ball and put it in, the way he wanted to have it. And I blame a lot of that on Lane not being there, obviously, um, because
Yeah.
they were getting in the backfield a lot quicker when Lane Johnson left the football. So
Someone
regardless, you
said
got
to
to
me
hold on to
that
the football.
they're like, "Well, Lane was playing the other side of the field." I said, "Well, I don't think you understand when you lose a guy that's the best right tackle of football has a ripple effect on your offensive line, right? It's not
Yeah,
just
that's the Miles Sanders
this
fumble. You see, he got hit in the
yeah.
backfield right away.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. 100%. Well, when you
he's
don't have Jalen in there versus, a Gardner too, that they don't have to respect it, the RPO, even when they do it, or whatever running play they call, as much as they're gonna have to respect it when, Jalen's in there, right? I mean, they
There's a
don't have
slowdown.
to. It just
Look, Micah Parsons gets in there and moves Miles Sanders. He still hasn't tucked the ball, and as he's trying to tuck the ball, going through the hole, they punch it right out right there. And
Ah,
at the end of the day, it's his fault for dropping the ball, but I think a lot of that has to do with your offensive line getting hurt. But at the end of the day, boo hoo. Dallas was missing
100%.
offensive linemen. Uh, Dallas is missing players. San Fran's missing two quarterbacks. They're not making excuses. These teams,
Yeah.
Minnesota's on their fourth and fifth cornerback. They're finding ways to
Yeah.
win football games. I don't I don't want to hear the excuses. And Eagles fans, don't say this game didn't matter because although it didn't, we lost.
It
We
did.
wanted to win the game and we lost. Let's stop making excuses, man. Stop the excuses.
Yeah, because if they win the game, they're not even thinking about playing probably Jalen Hurts this week, in my opinion, because it's pretty much wrapped up at that point. Uh,
Agreed. Agreed.
so now the Saints game does matter. I'd rather get the win against the Saints than go into the game with the Giants, but we'll talk about that, I guess, game preview coming up. But the
We'll give you a
the
grade on
offense,
Gardner. We both did B minus. Nick
yeah,
Sirianni, what's your grade on Nick?
the tough one. I thought about it.
I feel really bad. I'll go first. I feel really bad for
Shoot,
Nick Sirianni because I feel like his game plan was great. If we're putting the way we grade Nick Sirianni is their preparation, their play
yeah,
calling. I know Steichen's calling the plays now, but their play calling and their preparation. Head coach did a good job there. We can't stop.
yeah,
We can't predict injuries with Avonte Max and Lane Johnson. We can't predict that guys are going to drop the ball. I give him B plus, and the reason he didn't get an A, I give him a B plus because the substitutions have to be better. You can't have Quez Watkins taking both those slant passes.
yeah.
Just can't happen.
I
If
was,
it
I was,
happened
I was at
once,
a
it's
B.
like okay,
Yeah,
but I
twice.
give him a B plus because I felt like the Eagles were prepared. They played a strong game, hard nosed game. And if we're just giving the defense to Jonathan Gannon, it's how we've done it all year. Sirianni gets if they're prepared, their offensive side of the ball. 'Cause we're not doing Steichen. Um, he gets game plan, special teams. Thought all that was fine. Um, Can't predict the turnovers, dropping the ball. The Quez pass on the slant the second time drove me nuts because it already happened.
Yeah. That's why I have him at I had him at a B minus, and that's the major reason why. I liked how they came out, you know, on pregame at Pigskin. I talked about Dallas being back, how that was big, and they were getting the ball to Goddard right away. I liked how their game plan came out aggressive that way. Would have liked to see him get that touchdown on that first, red zone opportunity, but um, overall, I liked the game plan. I did not like the substitutions. Quez Watkins is a field stretcher, and just seeing that happen once, but not twice, where he just literally got deboed for the ball, drove me nuts. And they got to be better at that. They shouldn't have Quez in that situation for
Agreed.
multiple reasons. And that is why I'm at a B minus for him because I'm the same way. That was my biggest beef with him. The fumbles, the injuries, people not executing offensive line. The players got to play. They have to play. That's on the players. The coach, though, um, he's got to put them in good position. Quez Watkins can't get stripped like that. He's an NFL football player, but the coach shouldn't be putting him in that position because he shouldn't be going over the middle for passes. That should have been Zach Pascal all day long. All day long. Some people think Quez is the 3. It's Zach Pascal in my mind, and Quez is a field stretcher. Whether they want to say he's the 3 or not on paper or whatever, that's fine, but he's the 4 on the team, and I just
I'd
don't
rather have
see
Quez Watkins on the field than Zach Pascal, but not in that situation. I'd rather have Quez
well,
Watkins as my X receiver on the outside running fly
sure.
routes to get the safety, and my slot would either be AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. And I don't want Devontae Smith really going across the middle either. So that's the times I would sub
Me
out
either.
Zach Pascal on third and short.
Right, and that was the play, because he's a bigger body. I've seen him do it before. I mean, listen, Zach Pascal's not a world beater, but he knows the system. He knows what has to be done. He's played with Sirianni. So you think that he would say, "Hey, this guy I could trust. He's a veteran. He knows my system. Let me put him in on third and short." And he didn't do
At
that. It
minimum,
was
he at least breaks up one of those interceptions. At
100%.
minimum.
100%. And that could have been the difference in the game. There's many things that made a difference in the game, but that could have been enough. for them to weather all the other
3rd and
mistakes that
30 was the
came up.
worst, bro. 3rd and
Oh,
30
it's
was the
just
straw that broke the camel's back.
let me tell you what I was going through that night. So my sister wanted to have Christmas dinner, and I said, "You better make it early because the Eagles come on at 4:25. We're at a Chinese place." I had my phone up with the game on. I had it on the car. It didn't matter. I could have been on the moon and I'd have been seeing this game. And we were living and dying with it. We're the only people in the Chinese restaurant, and it was awesome. But you know, I wasn't missing Cowboys Eagles on Christmas Eve. That's like the best Christmas present ever as a football fan. There's no other I mean, Giants, Eagles, I would love to, but that's a great present. And it was I am grateful that it was still competitive because I wanted to win it, obviously, but at least it was a fight. And they didn't lay down. And I expected the Eagles not to lay down because they do have a pretty
Yeah.
deep team. Jordan Davis going out definitely hurt a little bit with the concussion. I was like, Jesus, man, Davis, you know, you still could have won it with Davis going out, Johnson, and Hurts. But that brings us to injuries. I wanted to talk about real quick. Johnson has elected not to get the surgery, um, and rehab, and hopefully he's back for the playoffs. So Eagles need to win this week to get the
That's not
bye
what
for
that
Lane
tweet
Johnson as
said.
well.
That's not what that tweet
What did
said.
it say?
It
I mean,
said
that's what
Johnson
the report.
elects not to have surgery, which I agree
Mm,
with, not to have surgery, and he
mm.
will, not hope, will be back for the playoffs. I thought that was great. I love that. I loved hearing that. I respect the hell out of
Well,
him. It reminds
he's
me of
he's that
Alshon
type of
Jeffrey.
dude.
It reminds me of
Yeah,
Alshon Jeffrey playing through a
with the
separated
shoulder.
shoulder the entire season.
Mhm.
Uh, that's how you win Super Bowls. People that are selfless, that
Yeah,
care about the team more than themselves. Love me some Lane Johnson, all pro right tackle. Need him. So,
best right tackle in football.
oh yeah, it's not close. He's one of the top
So my
tackles in football.
question: the temporary replacement. Do you move around the line and have Dillard and Mailata, or do you go with Jack Driscoll?
I go Jack Driscoll this week. At practice, I try to see how much Mailata looks at right tackle, how he looks, how much difference it is. Um, Jeff Stoutland has always said he doesn't like moving pieces, and he wants to protect his quarterback's blind side, which is why they always have a premier paid for left tackle. I drafted one in the first round. They still got Jordan Mailata. They had Jason Peters there. They waited. He's always had a premier left tackle to protect his quarterback's blind side. If you put Dillard in
Yeah,
there, I don't know how much Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew trust Dillard on the blind side.
yeah,
I
you
think
can't do
the
that.
drop
I
off
think.
from Johnson to to drop off from Johnson to man, help me out here.
Driscoll, Driscoll,
Driscoll
Jack Driscoll.
is significant. But I think that the drop off from Jordan Mailata to Dillard will be significant. And I also feel like there will still be a drop off from Johnson to Mailata at the right tackle position. So you're dropping off at two positions instead of like maybe sliding a tight end there, being able to chip, having the running back on that side. I'd prefer that at this point.
Yeah, I don't want to move Mailata because there's a lot of timing involved with that. You know, Hurts is used to how Mailata plays. He has kind of a sense of when he has to get rid of the ball or get away with it. You don't want to play with that. It's a tricky timing this late in the season to play with. I don't want to see them do that. There and I agree with you 100%. What is the reality though of can Dillard play on that other side? If Driscoll struggles, I mean, he should be able to play, right? I mean, is this where the first round cachet for this guy cashes in? I mean, is Driscoll still that much better to him, even though it's a different tackle spot than he's used to?
Bro, Andre Dillard played right tackle for like one game, and he said it was
Right.
like the moon, and it was like trying to, uh, like he couldn't do it. It was right. He's like, think about everything your left hand and everything you do is now you have to do with your right hand. I'm like,
Well, if the guy doesn't
Okay,
have confidence in doing it, I
he
mean,
doesn't.
I'm not gonna
He did it and
I'm
got
not gonna say
embarrassed the
push
last
him.
time he did it. The
What
last time
game
he
was
did it, he
that? Do
got
you remember who
embarrassed.
that was against?
No,
You remember what game? I was wondering if it was a really good defensive end, but you know what though? I agree with you. And so Johnson's going to be back for the playoffs, which is huge. And they also need to make sure they get this bye, which I do think they will, because they need extra rest time for Lane specifically. Jalen Hurts, they are saying he was on the practice field today, right? So in a limited capacity. So the question is, should he play? Will he play? And I think if he's healthy, he plays. It's that simple. I mean, people are, I think, trying to reinvent the wheel, saying like, "Well, we don't really need this game. We should be able to beat him without Gardner Minshew." I'm, you know, I'm not looking to have something weird happen where the Saints somehow pull out a win, and then we have to have a division battle. In division games, the weirdest shit could happen. We saw it with Washington. I don't want to see that in the last game of the season with the Giants. I just kind of, and there's a lot of things that need to happen. The Giants could get in the playoffs too. Uh, as far as what it means to them, I know there's a couple different scenarios that have to play out in the last week, but division games are always funky. And I think if he's healthy, he plays. I mean, what's your take on it, Gene?
I think Jalen Hurts should play. I think that if he plays this week and they get a win, he can sit again next week versus the Giants because the game won't matter. He'll get 2 more weeks to recover. I think that the injury is a little bit over exaggerated because the Philadelphia Eagles wanted to protect him, not show their
Yeah,
entire hand versus the Cowboys. I think he's actually going to play this Sunday. It sounds crazy. I understand um,
I don't think
that
that's crazy
Gardner's
at all. I
preparing.
really don't.
Well, the reason I say that is because if you look at the reporting, everyone seems to be reporting that Gardner Minshew is going to start. I don't think he
Mm,
should, and I don't think he will. This game is twofold, right? One, you have to win it to get the 1 seed. And the second thing that's important is you have the Saints first round draft pick. So if you are picking and choosing one of the 3 games to win down the stretch, it would be this one
mm,
because you have
absolutely.
their first round draft pick and you can help yourself twice. You don't want to play another division game with Jalen Hurts back there, quarterback, versus the Giants, because I promise you, they're thinking, "Hey, we might see this team in the playoffs. Let's try to hurt as many people as we possibly can." Just being real. What's up,
Yeah,
Warren?
and him practicing in a limited capacity isn't gamesmanship here. They're not trying to gamesmanship the Saints coaching staff. I don't believe that for a second. Um, they want him to play, and if he's healthy, he's going to play, and he's the type of player that wants to play. He's not going to just, like, all right, coach, I don't want to play. He's going to do everything he can to get on that field. That's why we like Jalen Hurts. That's what makes him who he is. And I agree with you. You want to win this game for draft pick purposes, and you want to rebound back from this. I know people are a little scared because Lane Johnson's out, but you can beat the Saints. You could run on the Saints. I think there'll be a heavy dose of Miles Sanders this game, personally. Um, you could definitely run on the Saints, and they're not to be slept on, but they should have it. They should be able to beat them. And I just feel like Jalen Hurts should play. I agree 100%. You know, I do think it gets a little overplayed because, and this will be my counter for Green later. The media, the national media, loves to play with Eagles fans because they're so reactive. And I'm not saying I'm not, but the Eagles fans are their favorite. It's their favorite. A lot of MVP talk this week. Is it going to hurt him in the MVP? Is it not? Mahomes should get the
Who-
MVP.
Yo, my man Warren G's on the chat. Can you post that real quick? 'Cause Warren, I know you didn't listen to the beginning of the show if you're asking that question. The Eagles lost that game because defense played bad. The Eagles lost that game because they turned the football over. The Eagles lost that game because on that day, the Cowboys were a better football team. The Eagles lost that game because Dak Prescott won 27 for 35 with 3 touchdowns. The Eagles lost that game because CeeDee Lamb abused Josiah Scott after Avonte Maddox went out. It's not because Hurts was hurt. It's because the Eagles lost the game. I
Yeah,
would
I mean,
love, I would love nothing more than for the Philadelphia Eagles to get another chance at playing the Dallas Cowboys in Philadelphia in the second round of playoffs, divisional round, and I want to send them home like we do in
so
2019. Send them home like we did in 2017. Send them home. I want
yeah,
to have full reins in sending them home. Let them cockroaches hide under a refrigerator, back in the basement where they belong. You only see those Cowboys fans out when they're winning. When they're losing, They're hiding. You don't ever hear them. Cowboys fans, especially ones that live around the Philadelphia area, are cockroaches.
Yeah, they
Sorry.
no, that's all right. You know, a lot of Jalen Hurts MVP talk. He's definitely in the running,
Not anymore.
you know,
He started on my
and
list.
yeah, who's number 1 on your list?
Patrick Mahomes,
Patrick Mahomes, okay. Number 2 is Allen or Burrow?
Jettas. Look, I have a
Oh,
different
okay.
list. I have a different list than what the NFL does. I think
Yeah,
it's
this is a good
embarrassing.
one.
I think it's embarrassing to me that the NFL MVP is turned into just a quarterback award.
Mm, I
Justin
agree.
Jefferson is an app almost could break Calvin Johnson's record for most receiving yards in a season ever. He's not the MVP.
Yeah, I
Help me
mean,
understand
that's
why.
a fair when Calvin broke it, did he win MVP that year? Calvin Johnson? Or did he come just short of Jerry
No,
Rice's record? I
no, no,
remember
no.
no.
He passed
Yeah,
Jerry
I
Rice
agree with
record.
you. Yeah.
Jettis
Yeah,
got
I
a chance
agree
to
with
break
you.
both records, the most receiving yards and
Mm.
the most receptions. Now, the reception is going to be really tough. He needs 25 receptions in the last 2 games, which is pretty absurd. But the receiving yards is very doable. It's like 220.
They could decide to feed him and make that happen. I could totally see. I mean, if there's
Yeah,
a
but
guy that could do
Junior,
it, it's him.
Junior, Junior, I agree with you. I don't agree with it, but I agree with you. And I will tell you this: Heisman Trophy winner a couple years ago was Devontae Smith, a wide receiver. So yes, they are quarterback driven. That doesn't mean the award should be the quarterback's award. And I can't stand that. I actually think that's kind of bullshit.
I feel that same way about the Super Bowl MVP. There's it hasn't always been like that, but most time you'll see a quarterback get a Super Bowl MVP that had a okay game versus other players that played better than them. And
Yeah,
the MVP is even more egregious with it. I mean, when you hear people talk, they don't even bring up Justin Jefferson. They just talk about Mahomes, Allen, some Burrow, some people talk about, Hurts.
Josh
Um,
Allen,
but if we're going quarterback,
a joke.
for me, Josh Allen has had a hell of a year and he's good. But he's when I look at some of the wins and losses, like, he had an awful loss against the Vikings. He has not
Or
taken care of
Josh
the ball
Allen's
like he
not even a
usually does.
Pro Bowler. Shouldn't even be a Pro
Yeah,
Bowler. He's a Pro
right.
Bowler, but he's
I
not. I think it should have been Mahomes, Burrow, and Tua.
yeah.
I'm
I it
serious. But all right,
to
Junior goes, who do y'all want in the first round and why? I told you who I want in the first round. I want the Cowboys.
Eagles.
We're going
I
to be
mean,
at the
yeah,
first round
Cowboys for
bye,
me.
and I want the Cowboys. And why do I want the Cowboys? 'Cause I want to send the cockroaches home.
Yeah, that would be sweet. I would love a rematch in the playoffs. Nothing more than would be nothing. There'd be nothing sweeter than that. 100%. Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts. He's, I do think he still gets undervalued on the national stage. He takes care of the football. I don't think Josh Allen's taking care of the football this year. Mahomes
No,
has done a good job, fumbles. He's still throwing a lot of picks. He's had a couple bad losses. The Indy loss was bad. San Francisco, that was a pretty good win for them. The loss against Cincinnati, they just have their number. What is it? Last 3 times they beat them. Doesn't matter. KC, not KC, doesn't matter. Um, I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to get his due like he should, because he's done a hell of a job of taking care of the football. And
yeah, but he's not
that
Patrick Mahomes, bro. I think that's the
right?
biggest problem that everyone looks at is they want they want to give it to somebody else that's not the best player in the league. Best player in the league is Patrick Mahomes. He's the best player in the league. He's the most valuable
Yeah.
player in the league. And don't take this the wrong way. If you swap them to Mahomes and Hurts, the Eagles are still the 1 seed in the NFC. I don't know. I don't know if the Chiefs are still the 2nd seed in the AFC. They might be the third, fourth. I
Mm,
what do you let me ask, they're 12-3, right? The Chiefs are 12 and
yeah.
3, Eagles are 13-2. If you swap them,
Hmm.
are the Eagles 14-1? Are the Eagles 15-0? Maybe. But if you swap them to Kansas City, what's the Chiefs record?
I mean,
I would say
I think
11.
if you swap them to KC, I mean, I don't know. It's a different type of quarterback, so it's really hard to say. I mean, maybe they have one more loss. Maybe they have one more win based off
Who has
how
better weapons?
Jalen
Hold on. Who has better weapons?
overall.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I think the Eagles have better weapons this year.
Okay.
So
So
Mahomes
Jalen,
will have better
who has
weapons.
a better offensive line?
I think it's Jalen this year. There's always a good offensive
Okay.
line, Casey, but yeah,
Who has
the
a better
Eagles have
running
better
back?
O line. I mean, yeah, it's the bar's low, but Eagles.
Who has a better
Meaning
defense?
Miles is doing good. I'm just saying
Who has a
that
better
they have
defense?
nobody in Casey. Oh, I think the Eagles are better defense.
So
100%.
Jalen Hurts have one more win than Patrick Mahomes and have every single advantage. You don't think Pat Mahomes would come over here and be 14-1? You don't think he would have won one of
Oh,
those
yeah,
2
it's
games?
fine. 100%. 100%. I love Patrick Mahomes. I think he's a great quarterback, and I think he's amazing. I just think Jalen's still getting discounted. When he goes up against guys like, Allen, I think he's had a better season than Josh Allen. I mean, and
100%.
I'm just and listen, Tua, unfortunately, he's been hurt, um, but he didn't have a great game, and I guess they're gonna that was a rough
Oh.
game.
Oh, we got to move on for next. We got to preview a little bit. I want to say one statement here, and I'll get into a lot more on pregame and pigskin tonight.
Mhm.
I will actively root against the Miami Dolphins as much as I humanly can because this kid needs to be sit down for the rest of the year. He needs to retire from NFL football. 3 concussions in a span of 8 weeks. Get this kid out of the league, man. Get him out of the league. He shouldn't be in the league. He's gonna ruin himself for the rest of his life. And that Dolphins organization, that owner, they could care less. Just throw him out there. Who cares? Stephen Ross is an awful person. I need to say that out loud.
Well, yeah, he was awful before that. He's just building his legacy of awfulness
100%.
even more. But yeah,
Quick
well, speaking
preview.
of concussions,
Okay. Quick preview.
mhm,
Quick preview. Saints Eagles. The key to this game. The key to this game is slowing down Cam Jordan. Because if
yeah,
that Saints defensive line can get pressure on the Eagles quarterback without blitzing, we are in trouble. They're very good against the run. They're a good defense. You cannot lose the battle in the trenches. You need to help everything you can. The Eagles should win this football game if they run the football, if they control the line of scrimmage. They'll have no problem in this football game. Where this game gets out of hand is that the Saints defensive line can stop and slow down the Eagles, whether it be Hurts or Minshew.
yeah, yeah. I think they got to run the ball, and you
Yeah, but
can run the
as you've
ball on
seen
these guys.
versus Dallas, you can't run the ball with Gardner Minshew. They literally make you
No,
pass the ball against them because what they did was the Cowboys like we're not going to let them run the ball, and they constantly were in the backfield the entire game. So we we have to pass the ball. We have to still keep them honest. Take what the defense dictates. If they have 6, 7, they have 7, 8 guys in the box, you can't run the football. Got to pass the football.
yep, 100%. And I
No,
listen.
because it's the opposite hand. It's the opposite hand. You can't. You play action with a tight end, maybe the chip on his strong side. I don't want Jalen or Gardner rolling to their left anyway. It's their opposite hand.
Right.
If you're play action away from that, you're not. You're actually. It's very tough to plant, set, and throw, and then you're cutting off half the field when you do that. You have to be able to play action to his side to keep the whole field in the equation.
Yeah. And that's you can you can you can effectively run on the Saints. They've been a little leaky the last 3 or 4 weeks. You know, they got a good defense. They're not horrible, but they can be had, and they've been had by certain teams. I could tell you, looking at it right now, they're 14th against the run, but when you look at some of the games they've had, they've given up 130. They gave up 100 yards last week. It was a bad weather game. They were gashed by Atlanta for 193 yards a week before. Um, That's a lot of yards to a team that is not really a multifaceted offense right now. They gave up a lot of receiving yards to the backs in the Tampa Bay game. So they gave 141 yards to Pittsburgh. I'm just talking rushing. I'm not even getting the receiving numbers. So you can run against this team, and the Eagles are more than capable. Even with Lane being out, they can run against this team, and I think you're going to get a heavy dose of Miles Sanders. I just think that's going to be the game plan. Yeah, you could pass as well. You should pass. I don't. Watched a lot of that Browns game, and it was a god awful game. I don't even know why I was watching a lot of it, but it was god awful. 1 o'clock game, and, they hung in there pretty tough. They got some injuries. I don't know if Chris Olave is gonna play, so I think the Eagles are gonna win this game. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're of the same mindset, Gene. I think the way they
I
win
am.
is yeah,
I am.
in their
I think the
minus
Eagles win the football game. I think it's gonna be closer than people want it to be. I think the Eagles win but don't cover. Or I think that the spread indicates it could be a backdoor cover or it could be a
right,
very close game. So
minus 6.5.
I'm yeah, it was 5.5 yesterday. Eagles have all the money, all the action, 75% of money. It's not moving. That's not a good thing. So I think the Eagles win the game, but they win it close. But I'll tell you what, don't be surprised, and I hate saying this, don't be surprised with a lot of phantom whistles because what ends up happening in games like this, two more games become relevant next week if the Saints beat the Eagles. The
I heard you
NFL is
talking about that
about making money. It's the truth. Am I lying?
on Wired
I'm
on
lying
Wire
and
to
I'm
Wire
dying.
last night. I was hearing Yeah, I mean, listen, there's some relevance to that. I don't think they're gonna physically try to fix the game, but if they can kind of influence, the outcome, I'm pretty sure, you know, there's a preferred narrative they would like for, ratings and such. I mean, I could totally see that, but the Eagles should be able to even overcome all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot for them to play for here, even outside of the playoffs. I don't know if really the Saints they're a lame duck team right now. I mean, they didn't lay down for the Browns, but the Browns were kind of they're not that great. Bad weather game, and they still gave up the 100 plus yards. So I think the Eagles got these guys. I think
Give me a score
the
prediction.
defensive. If
Now wrap up. Give me a score prediction.
I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna say, see like a 24, like 19, 24-20 game.
27-23 Eagles. 27-23 Eagles. I think that the Saints will move the ball with gadget plays, Taysom Hill plays, and I think that the Eagles will score enough. I think the big difference will be a turnover, and I think that turnover will be made by big play Slay. After all the talk and hate that he got this week over the coverage that was not his fault, in my opinion, um, I think he'll make a big play, and I think the Eagles will win this one. 27-23.
And I'm
Um,
with it.
let's counterfeit greens.
Yeah. So I got my counterfeit green, and it's a time honored tradition in sports talk or national media, and my counterfeit green is national media when they cover the Eagles. I think Eagles fans are great fans, very reactive, and I don't blame them. But I think a lot of takes are put out there on a national media stage, sometimes on a local stage, but mostly a national media stage to get reaction, to get clicks, to get likes, to get views. And that's what you want to do. That's great. But Eagles fans get all up in arms. And I'm like, counterfeit green is the national media. I just think it's a low hanging fruit. Um, every year it happens. And I don't dig it. I just ignore it. I just laugh it off when I hear national media talking about Eagles and they're just doing a troll take. Colin Cowherd with his recent take of every year someone wins the regular season and that will be the Eagles. And they'll be bounced out of the first round of the playoffs. Well, they're not in the first round, and then he's saying they'll lose their first game. Um, I disagree with him. Maybe you're gonna say because I'm an Eagles fan. I just look at the NFC and I don't see how I couldn't at least at the minimum expect the Eagles to win one playoff game. So obviously that take was a troll take, in my opinion. So
So for counterfeit green for me this week, it's very simple. My counterfeit green is Eagles fans that are making excuses after the Cowboys loss. We didn't need the game. We didn't want the game. It didn't matter. You beat a backup quarterback. Well, I got news for you. We beat a backup quarterback. Oh, we turned the ball over 4 times. I got news for you. They turned the ball over 3 times in Philadelphia. Oh, well, the Eagles dominate. No, they didn't. That game was close. It was close. If you're giving Cowboys fans hell for the week 5 game, week 6 game when we played, you have to understand you should take hell when the Eagles lose that football game. Real men, real adults, real Eagles fans look at this situation and say, guess what? I want to play them again. Cannot wait to see them in the playoffs. They don't cower from that. They don't hide from that. I don't care if we play the Cowboys and then the 49ers. Whatever your hardest road is, that's fine. We're the best. We should be able to beat Brock Purdy and then the Dallas Cowboys. Don't care.
Brock Purdy.
What I will tell you is this. Do not expect this Philadelphia Eagles team to win the Super Bowl reliant on that defense. It's not realistic. Jonathan Gannon has showed you this time in and time out that he is a counterfeit defensive coordinator. Whenever a good quarterback faces him, they shred him.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, and that's yep. That's what Mahomes has been doing. People have been taking away the deep ball and making him go over the middle. That's perfect for Mahomes to face. The Eagles will get Courtney Gardner Johnson back for the playoffs, which will be a huge get back as well. He's been making a lot of plays for the Eagles this year, so I am looking forward to what you're talking about. I think it's 100% true what you said. You relish playing these guys again, and every Eagles fan wants to win that. I don't believe, oh, we didn't need that, we didn't really want it. No, bullshit. I agree with 100%.
All right. Well,
I can't believe that people are doing that. I believe it, but I'm just, is what it
Birds
is.
Deep listeners, me and the Godfrey want to wish you guys a very happy holiday. Happy New Year. Be safe. Don't do anything stupid. Enjoy the new year. And 2023 is going to bring you an Eagles Super Bowl. Be prepared. Jump on for the ride. Have your teams back 100%. And know, we fly, Eagles fly. Godfrey, any final thoughts?
Yeah. We just don't want to ride like Russell, fly Eagles fly. And Happy New Year, everyone. Be safe. Don't make any stupid decisions. Be grateful for what you have. Check in on your friends that you think might be lonely. And that's it for this year. Seeing you next year soon. This is Gene and the Godfrey. Not saying goodbye, just saying take your birds deep.